Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reef. On today's episode, we're going to have a sneak peek at a brand new local fish store here in Australia. Alright guys, thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Parker's Reefs, and I'm super excited to share this episode with you. It would be a massive understatement to say that the lead up work to making this video available to you guys has been years and years in the making. Not so much from my side, I just get to swan on in with my camera and film and ask a few questions, but my good friend Dave, the owner of Deer Park Aquarium, has been planning and scheming this brand new local fish store for many years now. Now, I should point out that Dave does not have an aquarium at home. His store, Deer Park Aquarium, is his reef tank, and that's where he gets to enjoy this hobby. So much like I did with my dream reef tank, in planning and scheming every single little detail of it, which I will say now, if you weren't already aware, Dave had a huge hand in making that happen. Now getting the opportunity to see him put that same level of detail and go above and beyond in developing and designing his dream local fish store is super cool. And I've been fortunate enough to get a little sneak peek, and also fortunate enough to be able to take my camera in and interview the man just to find out some of the details of where the new store is at and some of the cool features that it's going to make it above and beyond. Oh, one thing before I forget, just for the locals that do frequent the current store in Deer Park, fear not, the new store is just a few hundred meters up the road. So Dave is not picking up shop and moving on the other side of Melbourne or interstate or anything like that. For all locals that do visit Deer Park Aquarium, you will still very easily be able to get to this new store. With that in mind, let's go visit the new shop, see how Dave's going, and mic him up for an interview. All right, I am here at the brand new store that Dave's been working very hard at. We're gonna get a little sneak peek as to what is going in to making a brand new local fish store in Melbourne. Here is Dave himself. I've come here after hours one night just to mic him up and take us through. You see we've got this big roller door entrance here for when the weather is good and also when we're rolling the cameras in, but it's obviously a normal entrance there. Dave, you've been busy.
I have.
What can you tell us about this gigantic space?
So we've got about 450 square meters in total. We're using 350 of that for the aquarium, and then there's about 100 worth of office space that probably isn't going to get used. This will be the dry section. It's about 15 times the size of our current dry section.
15, as in 1-5.
Yep. It's going to cost a fortune to fill, but it's going to look good. You can see we're just doing an internal perimeter wall. It's going to help with insulation. We probably put a roof on it eventually, but that'll be down the track.
Sure.
But basically just keep a bit of moisture away from the walls as well. Add to a bit of less echoing. You've got the plumbing through the wall because we're going to put the water filling station right smack bang in front of the door here. There'll be plenty of room to swing past to get through. And we're going to have a little angled wall just to make sure the traffic's diverted around the people filling their drums, sort of hide them away a bit.
Bit of a contrast from your current store where the water fill station is literally in the back corner of the store, which does make moving the water in and out a little bit more of a challenge, where this will be right here at the door. There's also one thing I didn't point out, we got on-site parking there, which is obviously gated off. So if you are filling up a lot of drums, you'll be able to come in here. Probably don't park in the handicap space like I am, but you'll be able to park right there at the door and bring your water containers in, fill them up right here and get nice, easy access.
This whole wall will just be dry stock. We'll have dedicated areas for salt and fresh, and then we'll have some miscellaneous stuff through the guts as well.
And that's a little bit of a spoiler there, that a store obviously the 15 times the size of...
We've got the space.
We've got the space.
We have the people coming through. We may as well put the stock in.
Definitely.
You're standing what is going to be the counter area. There's going to be about 7 meters worth of counter from the edge of the door there to the corner here.
Wow.
It's going to be glass fronted, so another 7 meters worth of dry stock. And that'll just teeter around into the toilet area at the back. We're going to have a saltwater filtration room tucked into the corner here.
Beautiful. And this fantastic bit of kit here on your brand new Fresh by Design Turkish made sump.
I don't know now. It was originally a Greek company. The plumbing is Turkish, and it says made in Germany all over it. So who knows?
Well, it's got a bit of a European feel to it, the sump. We'll cover that in another video because that's deserving of its own. There's heaps to go over on there, but you can sort of see the layout at the moment here where these boards go here, and there's parts of the tank racking here. This will be sectioned off as the filtration room for the saltwater side of the fish room. So the plumbing will come through there. As you can probably imagine, this section here is the fish room there, and we'll get to that soon, but that'll be the filtration to the saltwater side. And I believe you're also planning having potentially a little viewing window for people to be able to see that beautiful sump in action.
We'll hope to show it off a little bit, some lights in there and a bit of a window so people can look but can't touch.
Nice, nice. Now, one thing before we go any further, I don't want to go past the floor where we're walking on at the moment. This is not how this building came. You've put a fair bit of work into making this what it is.
The most expensive thing I've ever done with the shop and ever will. But the biggest issue at the current shop is every 6 months or so I have to paint the floor.
Yep.
The salt gets under the concrete and it just starts ripping it up. So this stuff is a special blend that is saltwater resistant. You can drive trucks on it. It's got a 10-year warranty, which I'm going to be very mindful of. And hopefully it's the right application for this job.
Nice. Now, is this a piece of it down here?
Yep, there's a little offcut there. So it all interlocks, they glue it down, and then there's a 4mm wear layer there. So even as it gets a bit old, gets a bit worn, you're still gonna have that color and that texture. It's gonna go 4mm down into the actual material. It's fairly rigid, you can bend it, but it's a
serious bit of gear. I mean, it's industrial flooring that's made for supermarkets and stuff for forklifts to drive on, and
cruise ships.
It gives a really nice luxurious feel to the shop here. It's nice.
Got a couple of walls to build here still, and then we're going to put a few display tanks in here.
This is going to be something exciting. The display tanks are not something that you've done heavily in your current shop, so something that's going to be a nice new twist.
Yeah, I think display tanks are important in stores. With the current store, we just don't have the space.
Yep.
They take up a lot of man hours and stuff as well, so we're going to try and automate these as much as we can. And we're just going to go for a bit of a mix. There'll be a couple of high-tech ones, a couple of low-tech ones, something in between as well. So something for everyone to sort of aspire toward.
And of course, saltwater as well as fresh.
A bit of both, definitely.
So people walking into the shop that just come in and say, I want an aquarium, we can take them to this wall and have a look and basically walk through the different scales of options available.
Definitely. And then we'll have a bit of an aquascaping wall. So we'll have all your hardscape goods, sands, gravels, and any of the equipment for that. We're trying to incorporate a scale into the middle there as well, so you can weigh up to your scape on a bit of a tray, and it'll give you a running total of the weight that you're up to as well.
Incredible, incredible. And this is a big space. I mean, we're walking sort of down the corridor at the moment, and the gap between this section here where the aquascaping section will be, and then some of the dry goods over here. I mean, this is double
8
car
meters
garage.
from wall to wall.
It's more than a double car garage. Yeah, there's heaps of room in the middle here. So compared to your current store, which, to be fair, you've utilised every square foot of the floor space. Here we've got lots of room and potential to put, some big bulk sales down the middle here. If you've got a pallet of salt in, we can put it right down there, and
And it's going to have plenty of room to get around it.
Heaps of room for people moving in and out of the store, which will be great.
This wall here is just out at the moment because we're waiting on our rainwater tank to arrive for saltwater storage, and it's the size of that wall. Once that's in, we'll bolt the wall back in place, and that'll become an area for dry tank sales, so tank cabinet setups. Hoping to have a range from 18 inches up to about 6 foot on hand at all times.
Yeah, beautiful. Dry tanks ready to go. And then we're talking about in front of this wall. We'll get to what's going to be behind that wall soon.
And then this is going to be the rough layout for the cabinetry along this wall here. We've got about 25 metres worth.
Wow.
You're going to have double glass door fronted glass shelving cabinetry. Then we're going to have 2 shelves in each of these counters or cabinets with a slat wall back for all your hang cell equipment.
Nice.
And then we're going to repeat that along the wall about 6 times.
That's a lot of dry goods. I know how much you can fit in just like a double section like that. Then you've got these, which you think, oh, they're only half as high, so you won't fit as much in those, but you're going to have slat wall behind there with a heap of things on the wall, and that's just going to, how many times that's going to be repeated? That sort of setup there is going to go over probably another 2-3 times after that one?
5.
Another 5 times. Yeah, okay.
And that wall there, other than our counter area, is the total dry stock room we currently have in store.
Yeah, wow. So massive increase, which will be really, really cool.
Then if we pretend there's a wall here and we walk through this opening here.
Yeah, so this wall here that's currently just temporarily removed so we can fit that rain tank through there, that will actually come across and be solid on there. So you walk down past all of your dry goods over the side here. You'll have your dry tanks set up there. Then you'll come in through this doorway here, which
Nice
is
and wide opening.
very nice and wide opening into the fish room, or the wet room, I should say.
This is the wet room. So we're going to have marines to the left, freshwater to the right. We'll have some fighting fish straight ahead. We've got our tank racks, which are a lot harder to put together than they look and a lot messier. But we're going to increase our marine fish by roughly 2 or 4 tanks. So not a huge increase, but they'll be laid out in a way that allows for a lot more actual fish stock.
Yes.
And we'll have our islands down the middle as we did previously.
Beautiful.
And then we'll basically mirror that on this side with freshwater. So islands for plants and whatnot down the middle, and then fish around the outside.
Lovely, lovely.
That'll all get built up as we can. We're not going to go full steam into the freshwater straight away. We want to keep the focus on the marine side of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's where your core customer base is now, so it makes sense. So, I mean, what sort of square meterage are we talking about in here for the wet room? This is a big, big space.
So our current store's 85 square meters in total. This wet room is 95.
Right, okay. So we've gone
good
10%
increase.
bigger than the existing store,
Entire store.
just in the wet room.
So there's going to be 30 tanks for the saltwater side, and then 30 tanks for the freshwater side, and then the 3 islands for each of them as well.
3 islands in the middle, yeah. Beautiful. And as you say, that's going to be loosely mirrored. So you'll have the marine side on there, because on the other side of that wall is the marine filtration, and then the freshwater on this side.
Yep.
With your islands in the middle for your sort of, obviously your corals and your plants and things, fish all around the outside. And I think you were saying by the sort of the doorway, you'll have bagging stations there.
Yeah, so there'll be a separate saltwater and a separate freshwater bagging station either side of the door.
Beautiful, beautiful. Makes sense. What a cool room. And you've got some roofing to come on here, so we can sort of really insulate this up and
yeah, so
sort
this
of
is
keep the temperature a
designed
bit
that
more
we
stable.
can pop some cool room panels on top later on, and
Yep.
that'll basically turn this into a giant esky. So heating and cooling is going to be a lot cheaper than at an individual tank level.
As we all know, the prices at home of cost of living is going up, and cost of running a shop isn't exactly getting any cheaper, is it?
Definitely not. Here's the opening into the wet store. I put the door in the wrong spot, so I've already had to knock that out and put that back in. I forgot I was putting tanks here. So this will be where we house most of our water. So we'll have the rainwater tank, 10,000 litres of salt here. There'll be a further 4,000 litres of salt here, 1,000 litres on a float of fresh water, and 2,000 litres of RO water. And they'll be in IBC, so we can gravity feed them down to the taps or to the tank level, so we're not running any pumps to do that. That's only going to take up less than a third of this room, so the remainder of this room will be made up into a fish holding system,
Yes.
a coral holding system. We'll have some fragging space and a bit of a hospital space as well.
All the stuff that you and I have been talking about as basically dream material in the current shop.
And now we have the space, it's all getting put
Just
in.
having the space that, yeah, so if a coral, if we don't have space in the tanks, and rather than putting corals on top of corals and watching them sting each other and causing all sorts of trouble, we'll be able to just put something out the back, or if something's come in and it's not quite right, we can sit it out the back and just give it the TLC it needs before putting it on show.
Yeah.
And yeah, likewise, we need to frag something up, we've got the space to do it, and space for them to settle again before they go back out into the tanks, and yeah, just a really cool space. Plus, I mean, the possibilities are endless, really, when you talk about fish as well. Getting,
Got a few different quarantine methods that we could do for that. We won't be importing our own fish. I don't believe there's enough time in the day to do both. It's not enough time in the day to build a shop.
You're making this work, so why not?
But we'll definitely have the ability to put some extra work and care into some more sensitive fish, and if we do have any issues or any shipments that are a bit suspect, we can work on those behind the scenes as well.
For sure. Plus, even just, I know what it's like. I've been fortunate enough to be to enough unboxings where
we'll have space where we can unbox the fish, settle them here, and then bring them out, and that way it'll also give us an opportunity to keep on top of pricing and things like that. So
definitely.
The tanks should hopefully at all times be priced up to date.
Yeah, nice. Because I know what it's like. You get a delivery at the moment, you get 20 foxface or something in there, and they don't all play great in the same tank, particularly in holding systems. They're not big tanks, So you start having to space some fox face out throughout the store, and that's only one species. You've got that multiplied by 30 or 40 species.
The biggest issue we have at the moment is fighting in our systems.
Exactly. So this will give you the ability to put 10 of those 20 fox face out the back.
Yep.
When you sell 5 of them in store, we can bring another 5 out, and you know, everyone's still got plenty of options to pick from, but the fish aren't on top of each other, and they get a bit of room. Everyone's happy, everyone's healthy. Makes complete sense.
And that's pretty much it for the layout. It's plenty of work to go. It's going to be another big day tomorrow, a few nights, but hopefully looking end of November at this stage.
Yeah, amazing.
Just not putting an exact date to it. Once it's ready, we'll do the transition and we'll let everyone know.
Yep. Now I know this is something that you cannot have it to the point where you've got everything exactly the way you want it before you open the doors. There's just not enough money in the world and not enough hours in the day. But you've put a huge effort into getting this store.
It'll be at an appropriate state for opening.
A manageable level.
There'll be things like we want to put a very large solar and battery system on, but that'll be down the track. The roofing, although a floating ceiling through the whole place would look amazing, it's not necessary. It's money better spent elsewhere for now.
For sure.
So plenty of upgrades along the way as well.
Definitely. But in the meantime, if people want to support you and make this opening be as big and as best as it possibly can, they can come on down to the local store, or your current store I should say, support you there as much as they can. Awesome. The money obviously comes in real handy at the moment.
Definitely.
While you've got 2 lots of rent, you've got a shop you're trying to run and keep stock levels up to be interesting for people, as well as, you know, sinking a little bit of time and money into a venture like this. So if anyone wants to see a brand new local fish store in Melbourne, the time would be now to come down to Deer Park Aquarium and support as much as you can.
The big thing is the current shop isn't getting left behind while we build this as well. We're getting weekly shipments. There's new fish, new coral, new dry stock every single week. And when it is time to transition over, we'll close for a day, our normal Tuesday, and we'll just magically be here. There won't be any interruption to our normal trading hours or trading styles.
The magic, we missed the air quotes there, magically. I don't think there'll be that much magic involved.
It's going to be a hell of a job.
Definitely, it's going to take a bit of work, but that's super, super cool. Well, I really look forward to seeing this new store open. I can't wait for it, because I know this is stuff that we've been spitballing around ideas about for years, and seeing you make it a reality is really inspirational. So a huge pat on the back to you for putting the time, effort and money into making this a possibility, and I really look forward to seeing what you do with it over the coming weeks and months.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, there you have it. That is the tour of the brand new local fish store that is setting up right now in Melbourne. I'm super excited to see this come to fruition, because like I touched on in the video, Dave and I have been spitballing ideas on how to make the perfect local fish store for what is realistically years now, and Dave has an incredible memory and has just been stockpiling idea on top of idea on top of idea, and is now finally getting the opportunity to make that a reality, which is really, really inspirational to see. I will also point out that it is a very expensive exercise, much like with a dream reef tank, to build a dream local fish store, and I cannot encourage you guys any more than to say, please do head on into his current store in Deer Park right now. Help support the guy. We want to see these local fish stores just thrive and get as good as they possibly can be. So if you want to get your support behind Dave and make this new shop a reality and just make it as full on as it possibly can be, head on in store. I will be there today up until about 1 o'clock when I head on home to watch my beloved Collingwood Magpies in the AFL Grand Final. But I'd love to see you all in store, and even on a day when I'm not there, please do head on in. Put your support in behind Dave and Deer Park Aquarium so we can get this new shop open and ready for business as soon as possible. Anyway, guys, I will wrap things up there. Thank you so much for watching. As touched on earlier in this video, I will have another video probably next weekend going into a deeper dive on that incredible filter skid, or the filtration setup for the marine side of the store. Can't wait to share that one with you guys, because it is a pretty sick bit of gear. So please do stay tuned for that. Other than that, if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and put all of your words of support for Dave in the comments down below. Till next time, guys, stay safe, keep reefing. Cheers, bye.